This little box in my hand is something that I've been working on for quite literally 6 months. I've poured also literally thousands of hours of actual blood, sweat, and probably some tears into this, and I am incredibly excited to show it to you. It's almost ready. I'm hoping to have the whole thing live and available as early as next week, fingers crossed. But for now, I thought that I would give you a bit of a teaser, if you like, and a sort of first look. So what is this? Well, in short, it's a tool that reviewers can use to test monitors with much better detail and ideally accuracy, so that you, the person actually buying the thing, have a true picture of what you're actually buying and how it compares to other monitors. In a bit more detail, it is a response time testing tool, or at least right now that's what it is anyway, as it wouldn't take all that much work to make this do input lag testing as well, but I haven't got to that bit yet, so for now, it's a response time testing tool. It measures the same 110 grey-to-grey transitions you'll find in Hardware Unbox's reviews in steps of 25 or 26 from RGB 0 to RGB 255. It's also based on the same sort of basic design the aperture grill outlined in his video about 10 to 90% measurements, which is actually something I'd like to talk about myself at some point, but that's a topic for another video. But this is a Melexis MLX 75305 light to voltage sensor and an Adafruit M4 Express microcontroller, the one with the ARM-based SAMD51 core. The difference though is that I've worked quite literally exhaustively to make this as close to plug and play as I possibly can. That means that, in theory, anyone can install the software, connect the device just via USB, stick it on a monitor, calibrate the monitor's brightness, and then it will run the test with no questions asked. It will automatically process all of the data, so you, the tester, don't have to look at oscilloscope lines or graph the raw data in Excel and manually work out every single transition. That should mean that you, the viewer, will get more accurate and more detailed information, assuming your favorite outlets currently even test response times. It runs a check for how stable the 5V USB supply is, if your monitor is strobing or pulsing its backlight, and it automatically adjusts the sensor's output window to match the monitor's brightness. I've also got it to save all of the raw data to file. So if you want to verify any of the results yourself, you can just fire up that file in Excel, stick it in a graph, and you can see what's going on. This is a fairly normal transition versus one with horrendous overshoot. That's the sort of thing that you can look for and test against. It also runs the test multiple times and averages the data and even does outlier rejection so that the final results are as accurate as possible. If I'm being honest, I built this thing for me. I want to test monitors more thoroughly, more accurately, so that I can render well-informed verdicts and provide you as much information as possible so that you can spend your hard-earned cash on something that is genuinely good and not just something that claims to be. But if this was exclusively for me, I could handle this being a bit janky, needing a multimeter to check voltages and things before doing a test, and then writing just some basic code to help process the data. The reason that this is a more polished device, and actually one with more robust checks and calibrations all built into the device itself, is that the mission in general to bring you, the prospective buyer, as much information as possible doesn't just stop with me. The more people testing kind of anything, but this in particular, the better. Ideally, everyone who tests monitors would test response times with at least a similar level of detail and accuracy. And that's why this entire project, from the C# desktop program and the C Arduino code, to the PCB design, the circuit diagram and STL files for the 3D printed case, are all going to be open source. Absolutely everything that I've worked on will be available in the GitHub repo, and I want you to not only be able to trust the results, as you can verify every single line of code and hardware components, but also if you want to build one yourself, feel free. If you have the tools, skills, and, well, desire, you are more than welcome to. I'm giving everything that I built over to the community in the hopes that it improves how we as reviewers test monitors and how you as consumers are informed when making what are often very expensive purchases. Now, I fully appreciate that the majority of reviewers and even enthusiasts likely won't be able to, or even just want to, build one of these units themselves. If you don't have your own resin 3D printer, that alone makes this a painfully expensive thing to produce or have a single unit built. Not to mention that many electronics component suppliers will often only sell you bags of hundreds or thousands of components that you only need one or two of to build this. So I am planning on building pre-built units that I will be making available for people to effectively buy. That includes absolutely everything from the PCB and all of the components soldered by hand by me, the casing and 3D printing it, finishing it off, making sure that it all actually fits together, and actually even a 5-meter micro USB cable so that you can plug it in. I'm not 100% set on sort of pricing yet, but to give you a ballpark, I'm looking at £100 or less, probably more like 75, which I think is around $100. It's safe to say I won't be making money if you do buy one of those. The development costs alone for everything that I've bought, prototypes and all that sort of stuff, easily exceed any level of profit that I would make on them, but I think it's hopefully clear I'm not doing this for money. If you would like one of these pre-built units, by the way, send me an email to inbox@TechteamGB.com with OSRTT kit in the subject line, or just ping me a tweet or a DM if I already follow you. If you would like to support the project and you don't want to buy a kit, then the best thing that you can do is actually also completely free, which is send this video to your favorite monitor reviewers, especially if they don't already test response times. If you'd like to support monetarily, there are plenty of ways that you can do that too. There is a direct donation link in the description. You can sign up to become a YouTube member and get some cool rewards like sponsor-free videos and access to our exclusive Discord channel. Or you can use Patreon instead if you would prefer. You can also pick up a hoodie or t-shirt like this one, or a load of other designs that I've actually made myself as well. This one was in Blender, and I've done a few other ones as well. And also there's a Bitcoin address in the description if you're, that way inclined. So yeah, that's what I've been doing for the last, 6 months straight, while still making all of the videos that you've seen for the last 6 months. Most of all of this work was done generally between 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. For pretty much 6 months straight. So I'm rather tired, and so yeah, I'm glad to be getting this hopefully out into the world very soon, and hopefully into the hands of some other people as well. Anyway, make sure you are subscribed with the notification bell turned on so that you are notified when the proper launch video explaining everything about this goes live. Like I said, I hope that is very soon, ideally next week if things all go well. But yeah, that's kind of that. As always, there's plenty of videos on the end cards if you want to keep watching. I have a lot of videos that you can stay up to date on. And as a heads up for the regular viewers, next week, if I do end up publishing the full video on this thing, then I'm likely to not post a video for a couple of days after, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, yeah, thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you, well, probably on Friday and then hopefully next week for this thing.